everyone, I'm Audrey Geoffroy from the University of Florida, and I'm here today to give you a quick Apra Byte on 6 quick tips to improve organizational communication and build trust. So, whatever the size or type of your organization, and whether you're a newbie researcher, a data scientist, a prospect manager, or a member of the leadership team, as a prospect development professional, you all probably have at least one thing in common: a mindset of curiosity, inquisitiveness, and a need to know it, and a need to know it now. We're all about one aspect or another of business intelligence. So with that in mind, I wanted to give you some quick tips on sharing information with others in your organization. So have you ever been given some interesting or important information from someone and then immediately been told, hey, don't share this? Well, of course you have. We are in the business of protecting confidential donor information, after all. But I'm talking about being told about an upcoming organizational change or something that will have an impact on your team or others in your organization. That one leads me to my first tip. Be transparent when you can be. If you know information that will impact your team, but your manager says that you can't tell anyone that information, don't be afraid to ask what you can share. For example, a few years ago, I was shown a seating map that was a plan for moving several members of my team to different offices. I was told that I couldn't share the map because it also involved getting approvals and moving another team, which might have been a sensitive issue for them. Well, knowing that the members of my team adapt better to changes when they know they're coming and that they want to know the information as soon as they can know it, I did ask for permission to share at least some information, and I did get approval to tell them that a move was planned, but that I couldn't share the particulars until all the approvals had been finalized. I also told them the leadership's reasons for all the moves so that they didn't seem arbitrary to them. Which leads me to tip number 2. Don't create Squirrel. This tip is based on the reality that our imaginations are usually way worse than reality, which leads to a lot of unneeded stress and distraction. Stress is the bane of good executive brain function. Who can work with a whole bunch of nonsense swirling in their heads? This tip is the balance to transparency. Don't spread unnecessary rumors. If you are a leader in the room discussing potentially moving people's offices around, don't tell your team about it until you know that a move is actually a real thing that's going to happen. Even if you can't tell them the details yet, you shouldn't be telling them if it's not necessarily set in stone that a move is going to happen. Otherwise, the team might be wondering what changed or whether you even were telling them something that was real. What if you aren't in a leadership position and you're hearing things and you know things that you think your development officers might want to know? Well, this applies to you too. Are you in the middle of trying to work out a new procedure for entering referrals in your relationship management system? Or maybe working on nailing down your sunsetting rules? Don't stress out your development officers with sudden big changes that might be coming or might not be coming. Wait until it's real and something's been decided. A corollary to these 2 tips of being transparent and not creating a squirrel is to definitely not be afraid to be transparent about confidentiality, especially when you're asked a direct question. I can't say and I don't know are both valid responses. Make sure you use one and that you pick the one that's the truth. Because if you do know, you should say, I can't say. That way later, if they find out that you did know, you're not losing people's trust. Now, the best way to avoid swirl and be transparent is to do tip 3, and that's to have a communication plan for everything. Any organization should already have mechanisms in place for sharing information with different audiences. But if yours doesn't, you should think about what is appropriate for the size and type of organization it is, and then implement those. Know your who, what, when, where, and why to develop your plan. And remember, there is no such thing as too much communication. At my organization, we have a series of ever-widening staff meetings for development. For example, we start with the central AVPs. They meet in the beginning of the month, and then in the next week, the unit senior leadership meets, and then finally, at the end of the month, all of the development staff meet. And we also have things like continuing education sessions that are coordinated by our talent management team. and also quarterly strategy and operations meetings for the project and prospect development areas. So we also have other channels for communication like our weekly information exchange email and quarterly all-staff meetings. Every new project, policy, or procedure goes through one or more of these channels to ensure that the people who need to know get to know. I will be talking more specifically about communication plans in the Apra Byte talk called 2 Concrete Ways to Manage Expectations and Speak Truth to Power. I hope you'll take a listen to that later. Of course, another way that our colleagues need to get information from us makes it essential that you pay attention to tip number 4. Have a secure document management system. As I said in the beginning, we deal with confidential information every day. Whether you generate research reports, prospect lists, gift reports, or spreadsheets prioritized by modeling scores, you've got to have a way to get the information to the frontline folks without compromising security. In other words, you shouldn't be sending stuff via unencrypted email. Can you save your files in your CRM? Do you deliver reports via SharePoint? Do you have an internal shared drive or organizational Dropbox? Maybe you have all of these, but in any case, you should have at least one, and it should be set up in such a way that you have, tip number 5, you've built a leveled access folder structure. Some organizational reports are meant for everyone in your organization to see, while others are geared for a more targeted audience, such as leadership. Access to the folders should make sense according to your organization. At UF, for example, we've set up our Cognos reports such that reports sit in one of 5 folders. Staff are then assigned both a level and a unit group so that the average DO can only see what's in the level 2 and the level 1 folders. And those are the only reports they see, are the common ones and the ones that are related to their unit. While a unit lead at level 3 can see what the level 2 folks can see, but can also see management reports that show the activity of the people that report to them. Which leads me, of course, to the final tip, which is to document everything. Business processes, structure, procedures, rules, everything, and have it accessible. We'll be doing a separate Apra Byte on documentation, but in the context of this talk, documentation is important in terms of not only assigning staff to levels, but also thinking about the reports and documenting where it should sit in your file structure so that it can be found in the future. Here at UF, for example, in our Cognos environment, we actually have a reporting spreadsheet which documents the name, number, requester, and builder of every report. It says what level it is and where to find it in our development and production environments. So, to recap, here are the 6 quick tips to improve your organization and gain trust from your colleagues. Be transparent when you can be. Don't create Squirrel. Have a communication plan for everything. Have a secure document management system. Build a leveled access folder structure, and document everything. Thank you for joining me today for my quick tips and arguably excessive use of exclamation points. Please check out our other Apra Byte offerings and let us know what other topics you're interested in hearing about or maybe even presenting.